When the Crucible is happening, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of emotions involved. And you could see that in the trailer there when players on the side of Ddung were close to crying, and some of them actually cried on stage because they were so disappointed and they were so sad about the performance. And when you casted the European Crucible with Calder, you too said, Tetra, that you could cry right now because it was such a dramatic final between Roll20 and the Holy Bananas.
It really was. That was such. I mean, just completely forgetting what happened post the match. The match itself, where you go
so dramatic,
3-0 up, and then the reverse sweep happens against you, and you put up such a fight in every single game. Doesn't matter how in the ones you were winning, in the ones you were losing, fought tooth and nail every second. It's obviously, you know, you did your best, but every tiny mistake when you do play like that, it's gonna get to you.
And for some of the players at the Holy Bananas rosters, it wasn't even the first time they were so close to making it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of them is now like, I can't remember which player it was. It might have been Gugush.
Yeah.
Gugush or Guru, where they just tweeted out back to back to back Crucible loser.
Yeah, and I mean, not just that as well. I mean, when you have players like Gugush and Guru, they were also at the Nexus Games last year. They represented their country at international tournaments. They represented their teams at the brink of making it.
Yeah, they won that, didn't they?
They won. Yeah, that they did win, yes. But I'm pretty sure they would have liked to trade it otherwise.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have absolutely taken losing the Nexus Games as much as cool as that tournament is in exchange for becoming an HGC Pro. But we'll have to see how the situation resolves itself and what happens next season in wait, we're in 2018. What year is this? In 2019. For now, though, we are heading into Volskaya Foundry, and it is going to be currently 2-0 up Supernova versus Ddung, with Ddung the first pick, first ban.
Yeah, all right. So they stick with a motto. They stick with a motive saying that we need first pick, first ban, and we're going to let our opponents decide the map. Volskaya Foundry, a really tricky one that allows a certain number of heroes that you normally don't see too much elsewhere. We could see Crash Lightning Thrall, for example. China plays it a lot. Even Korean teams play Crash Lightning every now and then.
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility here. Tyrande taken out of the equation immediately, so is Maiev. Genji not really taken care of yet. Maybe Ddung is willing to play it themselves this time.
Possibly. They played it, like we said, they played it once during the... Actually, did they play it once? Hang on, I've lost my stats. There we go. Genji. Yeah, no, they didn't play Genji either. So maybe they just need to play Genji. They're just going to let it go. I'm
pretty sure the Atrocious Best also banned it a lot themselves. So at this point, we can't even say if teams still play it or if it gets always banned.
I mean, Troggis Best picked it. That was the thing. Like, they had the opportunity.
In the first game, yes.
Like, well, you aren't banning it. I guess we will. I guess we'll play it, I guess. Yeah. So instead, we're going to see Genji removed this time by Supernova, which gives Ddung that Diablo again. It was very close to carrying them to victory in the early game, especially.
And I'm so glad with that Ddung is paying a lot of respect to that Garrosh coming in from Haben, the warrior player of Supernova, because that was just a beast. That was an absolute nightmare for them to face. No matter where Haben went, chaos and disaster destruction followed path. So they take the Diablo while banning away the Garrosh. So there is still Muradin available. I think those three warriors are probably the Holy Trinity, what you have right now in the current meta. Mephisto and Whitemane, though, being deployed. That is interesting.
You want to know something? This is my first ever Whitemane, not Whitemane cast, my first ever Mephisto cast.
Same here. We haven't had the chance to cast him because he wasn't allowed in HGC China. They were too fast.
Yeah, and they never played him in the Crucible. He was banned once, but actually going to be my first Mephisto game. I am happy. Good luck, Mephistopheles. We'll see how you do as we get rid of the Yrel here.
Okay, Yrel finally being respected a little bit here. So what can you do against Mephisto? There's a couple of things that you need to be aware of. First of all, you need some lockdown for him, not necessarily when he ease in, but when he drops back to his original position. If you have a hero like Muradin who can then jump in, or a flanking hero like Thrall who can then sunder him back into your teammates, that is certainly a good way to deal with him. Alternatively, there is maybe, I was going to say, some protection as well, like Blaze, yes. With a bunker, you can avoid most of his damage.
Yeah, I've been hearing some rumors about the usage of Stitches against Mephisto.
I don't hate it.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, this wasn't like any scrim information. I was just watching Lolba's stream, and he just busted out the shish kebab Stitches, and he didn't know that you could look through enemy buildings with shish kebab, and he's just like playing the game, just killing people over and over with every single hook, and he's just like, "This is broken."
Who invented it? China did.
Yeah, we did.
They played it before.
Alarak coming in here.
No, Stitches is one of those. I think he's one of those lucky punchers where oftentimes for a long amount of time you don't see him at all. Then one team brings him up, like Dignitas used to in the past with JPL, and then all of a sudden he's picked for a couple of months, and then he disappears again.
Indeedy. So it's interesting to see that, but in this case, we have the Alarak Thrall.
Wow.
Together. That is an interesting lineup. I'm trying to see the synergy there.
Solo ranged Mephisto.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So they do have an excessive amount of burst if every single ability lands, though. Alarak needs to land those good engages, right? Thrall with a good follow-up can also help tremendously. And then Mephisto, I mean, his ult is great, the Consume Souls, right, to finish the job. But the thing is, if one of those tools just doesn't click, they're not going to get the kill.
This is true. So then, we are heading into game number 3 with Supernova currently 2-0 up. They brought out the poking of Alarak. They brought out the consistent engage / damage. I guess it's back. I guess it's also technically poke of Mephisto, bringing out the Lightning Skull level 1 talent for Ddung here on the left-hand side. Whereas on the right-hand side, a little bit more standard, a lot of disruption on the side of Supernova with the ETC, with the Blaze, etc.
So Mephisto has been played in HGC Korea. I think Ballistics used him a couple of times, especially. So the build that we see from most Mephisto players in the pro scene is very much centered on his Q, as you said. So the Unyielding Power at level 1, which is a nice stacking quest, which amplifies the cooldown and the damage of his Q, is certainly a talent to be picked. Then, of course, we still need the shields from Static Barrier at level 4. And then later on, actually, builds shift away a little bit, and they tend to differentiate themselves from one another. So sometimes you will see cooldown reduction on his heroic abilities at 13 with Hysteria. Sometimes you will see even more Q focus with Abhorred Skull, and then later Lightning Reaction.
Well, we'll see how well they do that. Certainly it goes away from the initial build where he was released, where everyone was like, just Lightning!
Exactly.
Just all the what's that? Lightning Nova, there we go, the name. Everything all in on Lightning Nova. But yeah, this is a more interesting build.
Yeah, oftentimes, you know, when new hero gets released or a rework gets released and you just, you know, bank all your cards into that one ability, into that one talent, it works out. But with Mephisto, people certainly need it a little longer to figure out the ideal or the most efficient build. Bro going in, just stalling the process a little bit here, but still, the healing pulse goes over to Supernova.
Yeah, they had ETC face melt, they had concussion mine. There was no chance of Ddung taking out that kill. Holy dooly! Picking up the Hanzo super quickly.
And that is what we were talking about during the draft. If Diablo finds a stun, if Thrall finds a root, or not Kane, but Alarak finds a good swap combo, on a squishy target like Hanzo, they're going to pop immediately.
And with that fantastic engage coming in from Ddung, they immediately run down to their fortification camp. However, very low spawn timers. Supernova already back and are able to... Hanzo's already back Bentham, assisting his team and taking his own side.
So we talked a lot about the draft of Ddung and how lethal it can be. I think if you look at Supernova, though, there's also a whole lot of disengage available, isn't there? If you look at Decker Kane, good slows, the sleep later on, stay a while and listen, knockbacks on ETC, knockbacks on Junkrat, the Dragon's Era coming in from Hanzo as well, who went for Ignore All Distractions at level 4, by the way, a little bit of a special talent to highlight. Longer auto attack range and instant kill on minions.
We see Alex assisting out No Chat here to assist in grabbing this mercenary camp. Going to be grabbed a little bit slower than Ddung's. Probably still going to be early enough. Oh no, they delayed it. Very smart. Okay, so waiting out this point here means that they can use this mercenary camp as defensive tool as well as an offensive tool. make it fight behind their own wall, which means they take less damage on it.
Haben needs to be careful. He's carrying that precious healing upgrade. He doesn't want to get caught by Alarak. Doesn't really want to get shoved in. So Lightning Static Barrier is ready for Mephisto. That's a nice early power spike.
See how well that works out for him. You already mentioned the ignore all distractions from Bentham here, so he's going to just be pinging in as much poke damage onto members as possible. They have to wait for a minion wave to do so. For now, just burning him with spells.
Look at Haben, man. He's playing this so well, just dancing in and out of the capture zone. 5 members committed by Ddung because they wanted to get the control back. And look at 2 members of Supernova, each on the top and bottom lane. They have Blaze soaking, Junkrat soaking and pushing with the Mercenaries a little bit. So they get themselves a nice, progress in terms of pushing and experience here. ETC going in, the stun chain is real, the knockback is good, and Diablo is probably going to say bye.
Backing out, tanks through it. Wow. Nicely done with some help from Whitemane. And Thrall is even able to finish his level 4.
Here we go. All right. Nice survival. As you said, the Wolf Pack is now complete. Cooldown reduction, very important, and mana cost reduction too. ETC in trouble. Doesn't panic though. Doesn't use the healing pulse in panic mode.
See them moving onto the point. Currently, everything has turned around into Supernova's favor. They're holding the point for the moment as they move once again onto H82, but he's tanking through it.
All right, here we go. The turret is live now. Counter turret comes in for the blue team, comes in for Ddung. They're desperately trying to force back Supernova. Speaking of Novas, a nice lightning Nova from Mephisto, damaging Junkrat in the backline quite a bit here. No chat. Needs to be careful not to get flung against the wall. Speaking of people getting flung over, it is Alric now in trouble.
The biology meta already being dropped. Everyone
that's a huge one.
Heals back out to full. Hanzo's dropping a little bit low on mana, but he can once again just keep attacking minions and get that up.
Yeah.
Echo the Elements also complete here.
All right, double chain lightning coming in, but I think Ddung at this point, they surrender, they give up and say, you know what, we're going to defend this, we're going to come back later, and maybe we can even pick up some people here at this mercenary camp. Look at that, Diablo in position, but here comes the big boy, the big protector. Losing a lot of health, though, because there's not 2 people piloting it at the moment, so still, being used to secure another item, well done.
How many Prime Evils are there in the game right now? Sorry to go off topic here a bit.
In Heroes or in Diablo?
In Heroes.
2.
Yeah, Asmodan's a lesser evil, right?
Asmodan is a tiny, yes. Well, not tiny in physical appearance, but
tiny baby evil. Fair enough. Cool.
I think the only Prime Evil left missing is Baal.
Nice. Good to know. Excited. Can't wait for that. As for now, we see that Protector getting bodied here by Crow. Very good to see. Stop to Spine also dropping some nice damage.
Yeah.
Protector doesn't even get the Forge. Nice defense here by Ddung.
Yeah, still, of course, you can't entirely avoid the experience gap that has now manifested itself here. Supernova getting that 10 a little sooner here, but overall, as you said, nice defense. Certainly could have turned out a little worse here. During all of this, of course, Blaze and Thrall were having this show off in the bottom lane, the standoff, and both kept on soaking. Your level 10 is now live. We see Bunker, Dragon's Arrow, and the Riptire. No big surprise here. ETC, on the other hand, I wonder if he's brave enough to go Mosh Pit into that CC-heavy combo of Ddung, or if he's going to go with a stage dive.
Let's count the interrupts. He's gone for Mosh Pit. Let's count the interrupts. We have Telekinesis. We have Silence with the Discord Strike. We have Sundering potentially for Thrall. We had APOC potentially, but it's not chosen. Just his teammates instead. Diablo's charge does not work as he's not unstoppable during his charge, so he will get interrupted. So it is down to Alarak and Thrall right now.
Alarak and Thrall, as you said. That is still tricky, though, because Alarak, for example, has more than one way of interrupting it. You can use the Discord Strike to silence, or the Shove, of course, to get him out of way. And Thrall, of course, could use the Sundering here. Probably the safest tool to use because of its long range and reliable proc here. Now, look at that. Hero in trouble on that Thrall, but gets help from Diablo and Alarak. Can he survive Sundering being used preemptively here? But he stays alive, and that's what's important. Whitemane, though, in trouble.
Drops the Aegis, but still in range for the Riptire. Down she goes. Bunker being dropped as well to H82, who is eating all the fire, but it's going to be able to tank through it. Remember, with Sundering already used, they have very few tools to interrupt Mosh Pit now, so they have to back up. They can't afford to fight this a member down and with Mosh on the board.
And that's basically something that Haben needs to repeat in his mind all the time. He needs to count how many abilities are available, which abilities are on cooldown, when can I find that golden sweet spot to actually power slide in and get that ETC mosh pit rolling. And if you're a good tank player, if you know exactly when the time is right, then you can still make it work. Just because the enemy team has a lot of CC doesn't mean you can never get a golden mosh pit.
Exactly. Sometimes the threat of a mosh pit can
True,
be
that
just
as well, yeah.
as good. For now, though, we see mercenaries being taken by both teams. The support camp looking for that biotech emitter, our Supernova. Whereas Ddung, they were starting their own camp, but they realized it's happening. They're thinking about the interrupt as Crow dives in, not even using his lightning static anymore. A beautiful route. This guarantees mosh pit coming in, gets 2 members, with Crow being completely isolated. Nothing they can do. Benson does go down, though, off to the side.
Yeah, and No Chat falls next there as well. A big consume souls, but ETC is taking a big power slide. As long as Whitemane is available, there is going to be something to be done about it, though. But Whitemane falls. Blaze is having a nice barbecue.
It's a 2 for 2, and they're still chasing a beautiful jet propulsion, and ETC just on the edge before getting rooted. Assists with the stun onto Thrall, securing them the double kill.
Wow, wowee. That was a crazy team fight there. Ddung, it felt like they were a little panicky there when they saw ETC, you know, contest this healing pulse once again. And they weren't level 13. They should have realized that if this fight, you know, goes on a little longer, then they're going to get 13. So they probably thought they would have to make something happen right here, right now. Unfortunately, it backfired. And as you said, Tetcher, that Sundering was used so early. ETC found that good time window to land that 2-man mosh pit.
Begin to move up. Diablo looking to turn it around, though. YGC doesn't have that mosh pit. But those loud speakers, that extra knockback on face melt says no thank you, and they're able to disengage.
Okay, so Supernova retreating for now. Just trying to get a little bit of lane control back, and that is another indicator of a really good team. Hold that thought, though. Swap into Sundering, and down goes... No way. Don't tell me Decker's going to leave here.
Alex, no. Okay. Gets taken out. Telekinesis too good. Dr. Spidey were chasing forward. They're able to pick up the kill with the Lightning Skull. And ETC is down as well. Another double kill for Ddung here.
I was going to say that this is the indicator of a really good team. That when they realize when they don't have to be on the point, right? When they realize, you know what, we still have a little bit of time. Even if the enemy team were to capture the point, we can get mercenaries in the meantime. We can apply a little bit of map pressure elsewhere. So although they lost 2 members, which is quite the opposite of being a good team, they can probably still reclaim it if they go there in time.
So, Supernova moving up, looking to try and interrupt this still, like you said. Ddung, let's see if their confidence was well placed in the method you did just specify.
All right,
there's a pause, though.
Pause going on here. Maybe some issues with the computers. We've had some of those already today. So since we have an offline environment, though, there's admins nearby. There's technical people nearby that know what to do. I'm pretty sure this pause won't last too long. But yeah, Tetcher, what can we say about this game so far? I think Supernova looks really good. They look really solid. They had the better team fights up to this point. But Ddung is showing some moments of brilliance every here and then.
Yes, they are. They're still looking quite strong as a team, especially just recently. They were able to achieve a nice double kill, got some pushing out of it. But it's a situation of Ddung only seems to find kills when they're against isolated people. Yeah. The team fights, that was still quite close, though. That was like 2 for 2, 1 for 1, and then 2 for 2, all the way up to the last second, where they were able to get a really nice wraparound angle.
I think so too. Especially, like, I think there's so much weight, so much responsibility on Hero's shoulders right now on that Thrall. Like, he needs to have those good Sunderings, otherwise it's going to be so hard to really crack this formation of Supernova, which looks so stable, especially with that Decker Kane, I think has put in a lot of work up to this point. ETC, rather exotic pick these days because other warriors are usually prioritized, but I think he's getting that work done up to this point.
We're back in, and Blaze just walked onto the point with no chill at all as Crow drops some nice
Protector is here.
onto Benton. Protector is here, so they're too late to contest this. Blaze was not able to interrupt it on his own.
So how much damage can they get done? How much experience can they catch here, Ddung, that is, with that big weapon at their disposal? The support is currently in there. So when you see that support like Whitemane is in that Protector, that might open up the possibility for your team to find a good kill in the top lane here, for example, against Alrek. Instead, it is the other way around here. Consume Souls onto Junkrat, survives with just a sliver of health.
Yeah, he's able to keep himself alive for the moment, grab the fountain, getting healed up by Decade. No one else in position to pick up kills, so this Protector is just being having a twofold job here. One, get as much pushing done as possible. Two, keep that support in it so that she can't get ganked and die.
Alright, they're trying to get that bottom fort, but the damage from Junkrat cannot be underestimated. They're actually going to make it. No, the Protector backs out here, not confident. And even if they were to get that fort, the Protector would have probably died shortly after, exposing 2 heroes to the enemy team of Supernova. So they played carefully, they played well. And if we look at that Mephisto build, by the way, because we rarely get to cast this hero up to this point, he went for the Abort Skull. Hitting a hero with that Skull missile grants spell power for 6 seconds. So those abilities can hit even harder, but there's no Hysteria, which means no heroic ability cooldown. So once you pop that Consume Souls, you're going to have the full 120-second cooldown.
Oh yes, but it can, of course, give you a huge amount of extra spell power for that, and that's exactly the reason behind it as they begin moving forward. Here we see HG2 getting separated from the team, put in a bit of a rougher position.
Yeah.
But with the help of Brawl, they might be able to disengage. Sundering just being burned for defensive measures here.
And that, I think, Sundering, that Sundering was a big dead giveaway. So they know that this dislocation tool, that this interrupting tool is no longer available, and that should give ETC free reign over this team fight with a mosh pit, with a good power slide. So they back off, Ddung that is. They realized they ran out of steam.
We're also ending up we're also going to be seeing the fact that in that fight, Whitemane doesn't do out of fight healing very well. So the second that Riptide hit and all that poke they took from Hanzo, whereas Decade, this is exactly what we saw in game number 1, whereas Decade can heal it up, Whitemane is just like, alright, give me like 2 minutes and I can maybe top everyone up. if no one else takes any damage in the meantime. It takes us so long to have damage come in the fight, and to do that they have to engage and not get moshed.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, the good thing about Whitemane is with that level 4 talent, High Inquisitor, she never runs out of mana if she's played correctly, especially in a team fight. But she needs to stay in that team fight, out of combat, where no one is damaging the opponents, where she can't deliver the damage herself. It's just not going to happen. You only have Clemency and your Qs, and that's about it.
Exactly, and the question is that enough for them? Because so far, it's looking a little bit questionable as we see them moving forward. Ddung trying to make the most of their opportunity. Dragonara lands, beautiful Clemency there coming in. Sorry, intercession onto Groove, keeping him alive.
And the cleanses are so important. And if they make it to level 20 here, Ddung that is, then I think at level 20 with that upgraded Scarlet upgrade Scarlet Aegis, that they can totally make this work. An AoE cleanse against heroes like ETC, Blaze, who have the capabilities of actually stunning more than just one person at the same time, can be huge.
And it can, as Dr. Spy needs some grenades. However, has no chance. There's no more he can do. Diablo in the perfect position, but the roof from Decade shuts him down.
Wow. That was a close one, actually. I'm pretty sure that there was a flash of adrenaline surging through Junkrat's body there when he saw Diablo in that bush right next to him. But it turned out well. Support took good care of him.
You see, he's looking to see how many people follow up onto Diablo. He power slides in. There's the mosh pit. But he's no one in position with Junkrat already dead. No one was there to protect him. And Decade even gets stay while Alyssa interrupted. He will be able to escape, but ETC will not be so lucky. Question mark. Face melt backing up. Cube is there, and Haben is
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Oh my god, what? Oh my god, the choke point. Hanzo doing all the damage. Oh, that was ambitious. He nearly goes down, but he instead sends up Crow. What are you going to do, mate? Back you go. And he gets taken out.
If there was ever a moment in my career as a Heroes of the Storm commentator where I wanted to see a replay, it would be this one, because the amount of turnarounds and clutch escapes and clutch saves that Supernova was able to execute in this one team fight was just nuts.
Bentham just put on so much. Bolted the Storm power slide onto H82. But he is Diablo. He's taking as best he can, but he cannot do it forever. But he can do it for just long enough.
All right, and they take that forward with that walk by here. Beautiful Beautiful moves by Supernova all across the board. The Dragon's Arrow, once again, stunning all those people of Ddung when they were so close to getting another kill on ETC. ETC even dropped the healing pulse because he was certainly expecting himself to die there, so he didn't want to give it over to the opponents. But then Deckard Cain landing every single potion there as well. The roots were good as well. Level 20, play of the game, and down goes Alarak.
Wasn't even play of the game. That was just Dragon Arrow followed by Bullseye.
Sorry, yeah.
Train, quick pickup.
It was
in
natural
here.
agility. It looked to me like play of the game, but he went Bullseye. You're right.
So good, so good. It looks. Those are very similar animations. As we see Supernova moving on, grabbing another biotic emitter. They already have 2 turrets. They have full control here.
All right, another healing pulse goes over to Supernova. I think they claimed almost every single one of them in this game here. And when you have all that mana and health regen available, it's just so much easier to, really dominate those static battles around those capture zones. We have another pause here coming in. But as you can see here in the bottom right, 91% channeled already for the red team. So this is going to be another protector for Supernova. And as we scale to the late game, Tetcher, we all know how dangerous those things can be.
That we do. So now then, this is impressive so far by Supernova. Ddung is showing moments of brilliance, but once again, the last couple of engages, they keep chasing into choke points. And Hanzo is just getting so many scatter arrows. And I would love to say, well, at least Alarak's getting stacked, but he's dying as well. So I don't know what to say on that. He's not stacked high enough for damage output, and they're already starting to fall behind as level 20 is already here for, I say starting to fall behind. They are currently behind as level 20 is already here for the side of Supernova. And with a Protector, level 20, everyone alive, it's looking really good for it to be a potential endgame scenario for Supernova.
At this point, it looks like Ddung they look like a predator who's trying to, chase down his, or their game, but they're running out of stamina, right? They have these really strong tools if they connect, but if they're on cooldowns, if there's a couple of knockback tools available for Supernova, they're always going to outrun them, and they're so close, right? They're so close to catching the game, but for some reason, it always escapes last second.
And we are back in Bentham, making the most of. Even without the extra extra mercenary damage, he still just burns through mercenary so fast due to the amount of scatter arrows he offers. So completely fine to see here, especially on this map where you've got a lovely double wall. So once you take the extra piercing arrows, you just do even more damage. For now, though, we see NoJack clearing up the minion wave with Junkrat with the Protector on the way. They have ignored bot lane, obviously, as there's still a fort there, and are moving in for a keep.
All right, that Protector is here to deliver some serious damage on that top lane, which is the weakest lane so far. Bottom still has a fort, middle is a little bit harder to siege up in general, and they have a mercenary camp backing them up there as well. This could very well be the game-ending push for Supernova. In this moment, when this is a Hero League, Team League game, you type in, don't die, guys. Whatever you do, don't die. Just try to make something happen at the core, maybe. Or, on the other hand, try to flank them before they reach your base. But since they decided to defend, they need to defend at the core.
The Mosh Pit is up. This is the consistent threat Supernova need to end the game here. But if they can kill off ETC, they can! Sniping him with the Sundering at the end there. Really nicely done. So all of that set up by Dr. Spine with his silence.
Wonderfully done. That was exactly the target they needed to go for. Dropping the healing pulse. I mean, ETC in his dying breath at least had a flash of brilliance there to really just bolt away to safety and drop the healing pulse over there so Deckard Cain could pick it up. But yeah, that Protector only got a keep. Still a good thing though, but if they had played it a little bit more carefully, maybe they could have ended the game.
That, by the way, Mephisto in that last fight just completed Unyielding Power, his level 1. So now his Skull Missile's cooldown is permanently reduced to 5 seconds.
And combine that with the other talents that he has available at 13, for example, he gains even more ability power. And the level 20, that is a game changer right there. The Consumed by Hatred. If you get an execution, if you get the kill with one of your beams from Consumed Souls, you're going to have another instance procced immediately. That is super sick.
Yeah, it's the potential team wiper if you can set them up effectively, but you have to be able to do that. Alarak, on the other hand, has gone for the hasty bargain. Wants to get those resets on his cooldowns, and that's really important. If he burns his silence and suddenly ETC starts moshing, you've got to have that back.
All right, so all of a sudden, despite the fact that Ddung is currently down 1 keep, I think late game is actually looking really, really good for them. You know, the Hellstorm, level 20 on Mephisto, those are all exceptionally powerful teamfight weapons. So if I were Supernova, I would be very cautious and choose my location of battle very careful. In a choke point, they're definitely not going to make it.
Let's see, we see Haben holding what could be a choke point right now if they get the position, immediately showing so by doing some good damage to H82. They're being very slow in taking this. They're trying to force it, but they get the triple leash, unfortunately.
Yeah. And you know what? They're trying to fight this thing on the right-hand side because there's not that many walls available. They don't want to fight in the middle here because that would make it very easy for Diablo to slam someone against the wall. I don't really know where that Dragon's Arrow was landed or aimed at, but that is a big giveaway now for Ddung to initiate.
Yeah, was looking for Hero, so immediately Ddung, they turn around with Hero surviving, they start burning this down. It's now 5 heroics versus 3, level 20 versus level 20 as catapults begin to accumulate in the top lane. Riptide wrapping around, does good damage to the backlines.
Tetra, I'm getting flashbacks of HGC China. Is one mercenary camp really going to decide the course of the game here? Both teams refusing to let go. The impulse are deployed.
Mosh pit used with both two of the backlines killed off and a good wipe onto Diablo. Everyone else so far escaping with Hero on the run, and you can see Blaze trying to chase it. Good bolt power slide once again with Aegis activated, but Got Kimchi is just getting chased down.
Hooligan, is that you? That ETC by Haben looks amazing there. Got exactly the targets into his mosh pit that he wanted to get, but kudos also to Decker Kane, who put everyone else to sleep. The perfect isolation play coming through from Supernova, and they're here with 2 healing pulses to make this game theirs.
One hope left here, and its name is Mephisto. He needs to drop someone low enough to start the chain reaction to save his team the game, and he gets stunned up. Here comes the intercession, keeping him alive. Dragon Arrow again. He's getting stun locked to death here as the core is going down. He's got to drop the consumed souls to have any chance of keeping this going.
Hanzo, he dies.
Coming in, he can't do it in time.
Oh, Hanzo would have died, and then another proc would have happened. But it does not matter. Supernova take game number 3. But we also have to say, Tetra, that this was probably the strongest game that Ddung has had in this series. It was very clutch there towards the end.
That it was, but they still, I would say like mid-late game, they were certainly starting to get a little bit of momentum, but that just got shut down again. When Supernova grabs momentum, they hold on to it. Ddung, they struggle to keep momentum once they have it.
It also looked to me like this hyper-aggressive Mephisto combo, you know, with a Thrall, with an Alarak, 2 kind of melee assassins that tried to make plays with a lot of CC. It looked like a very crazy Hero League composition against a very formidable standard composition that we're used to seeing in pro play, with the exception maybe of ETC, who's not that common anymore, but still fits into the drafts every now and then. So Supernova just playing it calmly, playing it cool. They had a couple of shaky moments there when they lost that Protector, for example. But in the end, I think, as you said, all the experience just shone through.
Indeed, it did. So now Supernova 1 game away from securing their position in HGC Pro Division for yet another season. And
1 game away.
1 game away. And like you called it in that last little chase down, Haben, man. What a tank player. The ETC player. He was always on top of his opponent.
I mean, he just destroyed Ddung on his garage. They ban it away, then he busts out the ETC, pulls off a hooligan, lands mosh pit after mosh pit, and still demolishes, dismantles their opponents. So we now have 2 players already, 1 on each side, I think, that we really can highlight and recommend to maybe be picked up for one of the pro teams if some of the pro teams end up making roster changes. Haben, strong warrior, an insane performance once again, and they maybe Hero, who still had a good game on that Thrall, but there was only so many things he could do, right? He was responsible for making flanks, interrupting ETC, delivering the damage, survive. There's only so much one Thrall can handle.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in that kind of situation. His Sunderings were pretty on point. Like, there was maybe 1 or 2 which weren't exactly good for the disengages they were looking for. But in this case, that was a lovely turnaround that just a couple times fell short.
Right. Supernova, man, they really look like a team that wasn't actually meant to be in the Crucible. We keep saying it, right? Only that last game against Felice really forced them to go back into the pits of the Crucible, into the fighting pit. But yeah, so far, Ddung, they look a little bit clueless, and you can really see why Truck is best. The winners of the Open Division playoffs did not choose Supernova, right? They were the ones choosing Gluck for good reason. Gluck still needs a map win in HGC Korea. It's not the best form and shape they've ever been in, so they really wanted to avoid Supernova for good reason.
Exactly. So with that, we are now one game away. That is